Hi, my name is Krista Lee, and I am a psychic medium. I've had this gift since I was born. My first recollection would be when I was probably about 3 or 4 years old that I started speaking fluent French, a language that I'd never been exposed to. And my mom, carrying the dishes in, dropped them. All just crashed on the floor. My father come running out and he's like, "What is going on? What is going on?" Now, being fresh from Vietnam, he's having immediate PTSD moments. And my mom says, "Krista, repeat yourself. What did you just say?" And so I repeated myself again in French, saying things that only my grandfather would have said to my grandmother when she was younger. And immediately my family recognized that as a true gift. And rather than saying I had imaginary friends, it became more of, tell us more about it. They nurtured it immediately, never poo-pooed it, and always encouraged, give details, give specifics. And I grew with that. All of a sudden it started making sense. My job was to be that middle person, hence the word medium. I'm the middle. And that's just something I'm very passionate about. I believe that everything has to be validated. So I'm originally from the East Coast, and currently live in wonderful, beautiful Washington State, home of many urban legends that are absolutely phenomenal to explore. And the town that I'm in is a tiny, tiny town called Suquamish. It is an Indian reservation, and if you're ever going to have the persona of spooky, it's living on an Indian reservation near Chief Sealth's grave. There's all kinds of fun paranormal activity that goes on there. And it's fascinating because the Native Americans have their own legends, and then of course we as white men have our take on it based on our history and what we did to those Native Americans, especially in Kitsap County. I mean, we were not all friends and happy-go-lucky with the relationship that we do have now. So being from the East Coast originally, having that bluntness to me, but yet still sounding like sweet butter, I can get across what I want to say, but at the same time be politically correct for the most part. So for me, it's about 100% the validation. You're only as good as your last reading. And if you're tapping into the other side, you're tapping into another source, you're actually tapping into a universal source that is all-knowing. When I never ask leading questions. It's stated matter-of-factly, because I don't want you to give me any information. I'm going to give you the information. I've never actually put too much thought into it, into Michael Jackson. I think he is still alive. I think that the simple fact that when I go into medium mode, which is pretty much 99% of the time, I can connect to that spiritual side. And because we're all connected to a divine energy, it isn't like I'm going to just hone in on one thing and hope and pray. No, I get to hone in and ask my spirit guides, my angels, questions, and they're going to give me direct answers. And based on that connection that I have with my spirit guides and my angels, I feel that he did fake his death. He was in a lot of hot water those last couple years of his life. I met Paul 14 years ago when he came into a shop that I was working at, a metaphysical shop, and there's something about Paul that drew me to him. He's very charismatic, and this energy about him that just pulls you in. And as soon as I saw him, I recognized this connection, and I asked him a few questions, or I should say I validated a few things for him that caused him to go out to get his wife, who came in and got a reading. And it was a domino effect. All of our past lives just seemed to have come into play for that moment. And it literally set up the next row of dominoes that would be knocked down for the rest of our life, for the rest of this life, this current life. And Paul and we've discovered this passion that we can work very well together. I bring this unseen knowledge that he can then turn around and research and validate. When I first met Paul, the word Antioch kept coming up, and we went on a ghost hunt, and I just kept hearing it. And I would walk by this one grave site. We went to this grave, to the cemetery, which was a phenomenal experience. Boom! From that moment on, he started connecting things that meant the world to him and started him on his own spiritual journey. So we are spiritual beings. We are spirit having a human experience. As spirit, we are endless. We are timeless. We are forever in eternity. And as humans, we're only here for a short amount of time, and we have to cram in as much of our life lessons in this one lifetime that we can then take with us to the next life and the next life and the next life. What makes me great at what I do is the fact that I validate and I do not filter. Everything that comes through is going to come through genuine. If Uncle Joe was a cusser, then that is your validation. I'm going to be cussing right along, saying everything he has to say. If you kind of think about it, if you dip your toes in the water and you have those ripples, that's the exact moment that we're having right now. We are the toe in the water, and it's going to both go backwards, so our past lives that we are cleaning ourselves up from, and our future lives so that we can perfect that experience that we're going to have and continue to have. And we'll have with those loved ones that have been with us in the past, who will be with us in the future, and who are always with us now. Okay, so you have to understand Paul's personality. Paul is going to research the holy Hades out of any topic you give him. He is going to know it upside down, one way, flipping around. He's going to understand it and know it. Raph grounds Paul. Raph is going to be the, okay, drop it down, talk to people without being overly, and working with them makes, they're different than the TV where it's all crazy energy and not focused. Paul's going to make sure that it's focused, and Raph is going to give him the freedom to explore the truth, and he's going to eat it up when Paul has to eat crow, because that will happen. And my role with them is to throw into the scrambled eggs all the fruits and vegetables that are going to make that crazy omelet edible.